All right, I've had to take a little break here, but we're returning to Traveler and our scout campaign, crew of Intrepid. Quick background: if you've been following this, they've started their survey of a single, very habitable planet in this first system, but instead of being a simple planet survey, they've found a cube, what's described as a cube, um, in orbit around the planet, and their sensors couldn't penetrate it. So they had a decision to make: do they proceed with the planetary survey or check out the cube? And Captain decided it's probably not wise to go down on the planet with an unknown cube above them, and who knows what they're going to do, or what it's going to do. So they chose the path instead to send a drone initially to it. And through the dice rolls, etc., we found that it didn't do anything hostile or defensive. It actually opened an access port for the drone. And based on that, the captain then decided to pull the ship up. And as they were closing, it made a bigger access port for the ship. So as they got close enough, the captain decided they'd do an EVA. Her, the astrogator, and the researcher, and leave Sonny, the engineer, and the ship to keep an eye on things. The drone also moved into a surveillance position. And then they went in and they found a corridor. And as they were going through the corridor, at the end of the corridor, there was looked like a rather large opening. And when they came out into the opening, they saw, well, for no better description, a bunch of specimens: plant life, animal life, which you're scanning now. Looks like they may be in stasis. So it looks like a lot of life is on this cube. She made a reference to thinking it was like an ancient child story she heard about an ark. So now they're in the middle of scanning it there. And now I'm at the point where I have to ask some questions and get some answers. And playing solo, I mean, not that I'm experienced with being a game master or a dungeon master, but normally they already have, you already have a plan, an idea of what's going on, and you're leaving it to the players to do things, and you respond to their actions knowing you've already got the big picture plan. The thing I'm seeing here with solo RPG is, well, you're as much learning the plan as your characters, and sometimes you have to come out of the player role and assume a somewhat game master role and start asking questions. In my case, the first question I asked, and I rolled on, I think it's one of these tables here, excuse me for the coughing. What was the purpose of the cube? And it ended up being conservation of species was what we got as a roll. So hence that led to our current situation where they find all these plant and animal life in stasis in the cube itself once they're on the inside. So that was a case where we were checking, using the tables to do that. So the story slowly reveals itself. Now we're stuck with some other questions. The biggest one is the cube manned? So in some sense, I've got to step out of my role as a player and ask these bigger picture questions, so then I can drive the rest of the story. Now I have a number of choices for my oracles here. I've got a mythic fate chart. Here's a solo RPG chart I've used before too. Potentially, I think I'm going to stick with the Starforge for now. This is pretty straightforward. I don't know why every time I talk I cough. But this one's also interesting, the solo RPG. We get the yes, no, but, which makes it a little more interesting. This looks like a straight table like we saw in the other one, so I'm tempted to go back to this one actually, because it gives you more. This is just a straight yes or no, while this one adds some flavor here. So I think I'll go with this one. Now, The first question is, one of the rules said there was, as they were going in, there was a salvageable resource, whatever that means. So probably need to resolve that. And there's good recommendation here on how to ask the oracle. Ask your question, 1 to 100, and then it can match. This is coming from Starforge, but it generally makes sense with these other ones. Do a yes or no question and choose a percentage. All of them are pretty much based on that. So first question I'd have is, I'll just say it's some sort of power supply, and I'll do a straight 50-50 here. And this is an interesting die here. This is a D20. So the 50-50 is right here. It's either a power supply or it's something they can't figure out. Those are my two choices here. So I'll do my D20 here. And is it, let's see, unknown. Is it a power supply? Looks like they split it the other direction. Roll high for a yes. Survey says, oh my goodness, that's not what I want. I always mess that up. 20 and 1. Okay, let's try that again. And survey says a 13. I got a yes, but. Okay, so now we relate down here to the but. And that's 1d6, so I'll have to build a story around that. It's a power supply, but I don't know how that's going to apply. Okay, it is. They recognize it as some sort of power supply. And some of them talk about messing with it, but I think the captain says discretion is better part of valor. We'll do recordings on it, but we're not going to mess with that power supply. We're just going to leave it as is for now until we have bigger questions answered. And actually the big question I have now is the cube manned? And our characters don't know this, but I have to resolve this to figure out if it's happening. I'm going to go with an unlikely for that. I don't want to go very unlikely. Yeah, I'll do an unlikely. And this could really change things, so this is a big roll. D20, unlikely, is it manned? Is the cube manned? And close my eye. Oh gosh. Yes, it is manned. Great. Okay, I've got to figure that one out. Okay, so it's got, those are power supplies. Is it manned? The answer, that's a pretty definitive yes. Okay, I got to give a lot of thought to that one. They're potentially encountering an alien race right now. Now the problem is, can they detect it? Do the people want to reveal themselves? I was just looking at this world builder, and I was going to roll on this for the neural sensor, but the other problem is this ship is full of life forms, so it's going to be pretty hard to detect. I guess I could make it a difficult task here to see if they detect it. Actually, a better question at this point is, if it's manned, and based on they were very inviting letting them on, does whoever is manning it introduce themselves? And I would put that at a likely. So I'm going to roll on that. This is taking on a life of its own here. So this is a likely yes. Let's see what we get. 8. Wow, yes. Okay, so whoever is manning this, whatever is manning this, wants to meet them, but there's a but. I don't know how to use the but here, but that's a 1d6 again. Not rolling. An adjustment to the physical environment. Okay. So this tells me that whoever, so they are going to be approached by whoever is manning this, and there's an adjustment to the physical environment. Let's think about this. All right, the adjustment of physical environment. I think I'm going to say, have they sensed what our crew needs for breathing? I'm going to say, are they also, do they breathe the atmosphere of the planet, which is breathable by our crew? So I'm going to say likely again. So we'll roll a d20. Well, we're going to say yes or no. Okay. Okay, 13, definitely yes. So here's what happened. Whoever these entities are, they are shifting the atmosphere in the cube. I think when they first came in, it was a vacuum, but now they're sealing it and giving it a breathable oxygen, nitrogen atmosphere for the crew. So I would say the center area was normally in a vacuum. There was no need to keep it oxygen and nitrogen because the crew just monitored that. But now that our crew is there and they're coming to meet them there, they are adjusting the atmosphere for it to be breathable. And then these aliens, or whatever they are, show up with our crew. Oh my goodness. So next, I'm going to have to stop here soon to figure out how to build an alien race here. And if they've, well, there's one other thing we could do. Our crew is scanning it. And the question is, do they recognize this race, or have they encountered this race before? And I'm going to say unlikely. And see what the dice say. So, unlikely. Poof. Oof. They have, but, oh, that's a 1d6. But, let's see if but adds something to this. Why do I keep rolling low? Twist to the relationship between people in the situation. Okay, I've got to think on this. So they do have a record of this race. Okay, got to think about this. Wow. Well, it looks like with Starforged I can start building out this creature, species, whatever. I don't have to roll for the environment. That's 6 to 15. It's an interior. Gosh, I hope it's not one of these. I guess I can roll here, and they're in a ship already, so we'll see. But I'm almost going to say medium person size just because they're in a ship. But just for the heck of it, I'll roll the dice here. And this would be a D100. See if the dice try and steer me. Nope, 69. Oh, they're large. Well, let's just say they're bigger than humans. Maybe 7 to 10 feet. Okay. Yeah, 69 is barely above this. So we can say they're rather large. Let's see what this tells us, though. This is interesting. This can tell us what type they are. Fish torpedo, that's scary. Alright, I'm an interior, and this is another 1D. Let's try that. So they're large, they're taller than humans. And, oh, come on, why am I getting these scary rolls? Roll twice, okay. Does that mean there's two types of them? 34. Oh, there we go, nice. Humanoid bipedal. That's good, good. Taller than humans, humanoid bipedal. They are kind of recognized. I don't know why I'm rolling twice. Now, we'll just stick with humanoid bipedal. So, getting a lot of information here. It's manned, taller than humans, and bipedal, humanoid. That's good. Humanoid. And known. I haven't figured out how in what way here. Okay, at least, yeah, that would have been kind of hard if they were a slug. Creature first look. Roll for a basic form, previous page, and flesh out the creature's appearance using this creature first look. And behavior, well, I may have to modify that, but let's see what the dice say here. So creature first look, bipedal, taller than humans, and it's another 1/100. Oversized mouth. Okay. Think about that one. Okay. What else can they tell me? I think you're allowed to roll twice. 85. Ridges or plates? Wow. Okay. Well, we're getting a picture of these people, or these entities. I don't know what this encountered. Let's just roll and see if there's something we can use here. And poof. Mimic. Okay. They're trying to mimic. I can think about that too. Okay. Okay, is there anything else here now as I think we're going to sum it up because there's, revealed aspect. Wow. Well, in this table, as you interact with the creature, introduce new features. Establish nature. These kind of look like attack, and this is an intelligent life form. Let's roll and see if it gives us something interesting. 68. Oh, for Pete's sake. No, we're not going to do that. Noxious cloud or spores. No, we're gonna stop here. I got to figure out what mimic is, but here are the questions now. I don't even need to go further from here. So this place is manned, and they're coming to meet them, and they're taller than humans. Let's put them at 8 feet or something. They're bipedal though. They've got a large mouth with ridges and plates. I don't know what the mimic means, but also they're nitrogen oxygen breathers, and they're putting an atmosphere in to this internal space. So they're moving to meet them. I'm going to assume they're friendly because they did allow them on. So and they're somewhat known, and I have to get that backstory now. What does it mean that the Imperium is aware of them, or maybe has encountered them? Maybe I can ask one more question. I think the question would be, are they... let's go to General Oracles. Do they trade with the Imperium, or is it just rumor? And I'm going to say it's unlikely they trade with the Imperium. Let's do that. And then otherwise they barely know about these species. Unlikely. That'll be the last question here. I gotta roll a d20. Okay, start. Do they trade with the Imperium? No. Good. Okay. I can play that story. I don't know if this will give me anything. But I don't know what that means. Subliminally bad or good timing by a sudden event. Okay. Known. Let's just say they're known only by rumor. So we have a new race here that the Imperium. But does this race know about the Imperium? I'm going to say I'm going to do a 50-50 on that. No. Holy smoke. So this is a first contact from their point of view. Okay. Only by rumor and don't know the Imperium. Okay, this whole campaign has just taken on a life of its own. So, first planet they explore and they find an intelligent race, I'm assuming. So I'm going to have to do a little research here in backstory of this race. They actually may be running into a hole. Well, I know one of my viewers has mentioned the Pocket Empires add-on. I'm going to have to look at that now. So I don't know what other... I'm going to have to think about this. So immediately they've run into another intelligent race in orbit around a planet. So, wow. I'm going to have to think about this one here. Alright, I'm going to stop the recording here. We've got enough information. I'm going to have to take this now and figure out a backstory on this before we proceed further. So, yeah, this campaign is taking on a life of its own. Yeah, just to totally summarize as we end up, this cube was manned. The aliens are taller than humans, bipedal, oversized mouth, ridges and plates. I'll have to figure out what mimic means. The Imperium is aware of them only by rumor. Probably other races have mentioned them. I'll leave it at that. But this race isn't familiar with the Imperium, interestingly enough. So this is a first contact. So I'm going to have to do a little research of materials out there to see how to build out this race. I know there's a number of them out there, so that'll probably be the next recording where I basically build out what this race is, or what these aliens are, and what, if any, empire they have, and then we'll sort out the first contact here. But so far they've been doing things peacefully. They allowed the ship on board. They didn't do anything offensive or defensive. And they're trying to be accommodating, changing the atmosphere to oxygen, nitrogen. So going to have to think about how our crew reacts to scout service. They do have a first contact portion, but I mean, they have training too. Actually, I'll have to look at Zoser. Zoser actually has some stuff about finding intelligent life too, so I'll have to look at that. But this doesn't apply. This is on the planet, and we already know these aliens are advanced because they are manning the cube and operating it. So, anyway. Well, that's the other thing with solo RPG. Apparently you never have any idea where it's going. I had no idea when I started this. I thought I'd just be roaming this system and exploring planets and running into exciting and dangerous life forms and whatever, but nope. First stop, we run into a apparently technologically advanced first contact situation. So, definitely changes the scope of things. Anyway, like if you liked, subscribe if you want to hear the next one. And yeah, any feedback is appreciated. Resources, as I now try and build out this alien race and/or empire. So, thanks for reading. Thanks for listening, and I'll try and build up a narrative too. So, see you at the next one.